Ready? 2. 1, don't ask for permission. Number 2, define success on your own terms. Don't look at anybody else and come up with success based on that. That's it. Anything else, because they're never going to give you permission, and if you use someone else's definition of success, you're never going to find it. But I'll give you a definition of success. It's the journey, not the destination. There, how's that?
If you're trying to network, it's not so much the convention, it's the convention bar, the convention restaurants, smaller conventions. I'm going to put a big plug in for WisCon, a feminist sci-fi convention in Madison, Wisconsin. I chaired it last year. I was the first black woman in its 39-year history to chair it. Yeah. And here's a really hilarious story about my long life journey here. The connections I made in WisCon got me in the Publishers Weekly. Right. They got me into a host of other publications. For those of you who don't read my nonfiction stuff or have never heard of me before, I've written for Ebony, I've written for Essence, I've written for the Washington Post, I've written for Time, I've written for Salon, The Guardian, if you name it. I've either written for it or decided I hated the other. One of the two. And a lot of those things came about because of both social media and, listen, so many deals are made over a plate of appetizers. Like, be a pleasure to work with, be friendly, be open to talking to people. Some people you're going to be like, Jesus Christ, no, so that's okay. But also you kind of have to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. The worst thing you can do is say no.
Exactly. Quiz mouth does not get fed. You think I'm going to get fed right now? I mean, not sorry. You think I'm going to get fed? I'll open my mouth and I kept that and he right there. You don't know. If they say no, okay, thank you very much. Don't give them my attitude. Thank you. I'm back at a later date. I'm knocking. They might let you in. Okay, next question. I do want to say Greg Pop was supposed to be here, but unfortunately due to stuff, he's not here. So we're going to give away a storm to the next. Ooh. We should have got up and asked a question.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and one of my biggest issues specifically with the term diversity and what it is Nettie Okorafor is one of my favorite authors. Yesterday on Twitter, she was talking about the fact that she's uncomfortable with diversity because it seems like it's as if that is what people of color are supposed to do. It's as if our stories are for the consumption of white people, when in reality we're just trying to tell stories for us to consume, for each other, so that we know that these stories can be told. So in a sense, in terms of advice, for people of color who do want their work to be seen, and who feel as if in order for it to be seen, they have to feed that consumption, what advice do you have at least to break away from that mold and to just say, you know what, fuck it, I want to make stories for each other, for all of us to consume and to just enjoy it. And if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we have it in the archive for each other to indulge in.
Let your art speak for you. Let your creation speak for you. Put it out there, saturate the internet. I mean, there's so many ways now that you can make your own and find the audience that wants what you have to give.
I was going to say, because Nettie and I have been emailing back and forth about this. And I think it's really important that you stop worrying about who the audience might be, and you start worrying about what story you want to tell, right? Because at the end, I promise you, your people will find you. Also, hi, Twitter. They'll definitely see what you want them to see.
Next question, I'm sorry. We held up for like 10 minutes time, so we got to I'm not. Up next, we have a Static Shock. Held by my lovely young niece. See, I know y'all mad. Go on. I'm bad. I got one for you, though. Okay. And I ain't got enough.
Okay,
Check the but
It is hot. So basically, I'm going to piggyback on what you said about diversity and about public balance. You said about it being flavor of the month and how it's being seen. Looking at there's the queer young Avengers and there's the all women X-Men and we're seeing this Marvel being taken by being replaced by a younger I think she's Pakistani, a woman. Do you feel that it's kind of lazy to have people who are diverse taking over iconic spots for iconic teams, iconic people?
David Hunter said something. We don't have a lot of thoughts about it. So, I mean, the short answer is there is no short answer to that because it is. If you're talking about iconic characters, there is two sides to the argument that are very challenging. And this happened with a lot of people commenting when I was started on Midnight. And it was great that we had a game that was character. But why do you think of game characters that quote matter? Which is to say, one of the iconic characters. And that is one side of the argument. A character was created as game at the start, and hopefully rise to the prominence. And the other side, the people would say when I watch the commentary on it is to do the reverse, like say the Green Arrow, suddenly, the Green Arrow is gay. Well, then you grow from the character. Then you fundamentally change something at 70 years old or 75 years old, and there's unrest there. So it's a tightrope that I think is really challenging because, lazy is a sort of a loaded word, but you want something that means something to people, and there's an intrinsic value to those iconic characters. Do I necessarily agree with it? I think they're great characters. But when you are working within this established framework, you can't always fit into everyone's expectations. There's this concept of characters that matter. Obviously, we deserve characters that matter. So there's value to that, but in an ideal world where you drop all these things away, I think obviously creating new characters that can contend is amazing. At the moment, it's a huge challenge to that.
And just my thoughts on that are pretty simple. Is that the examples that you handed me or that you asked, there's a dozen other examples that aren't within that paradigm. And they weren't mentioned, whether it's Priceless or Agents of the Realm or Pitch Planet or Concrete Park. It's all out there. There is no lack of diversity. It's just we're not talking about it. We're asking, where's the diversity? And it's there. But the press and the fans and everybody are talking about the same things over and over again. Here's somebody who's doing it. All on the panel that we're doing it, but we're only talking about a very narrow spectrum, and that's what we have to do. It's not, yes, Ms. Marvel, is that lazy making her Pakistan? No. There's nothing lazy about that. G. Willow Wilson's writing her ass off on that book. What's lazy is that nobody knows what Concrete Park is. How many people know what Concrete Park is?
Somebody in here has a Concrete Park book. Raise it up. I know somebody in here.
I got one.
Oh, yeah. I gave out a few. Okay.
Let me say from a perspective of somebody who's created their own character and did their own thing. The first issue of Princess sold 700 copies. That book has been immediately canceled by either or any of the 5 companies you see in the front of the catalog. And it's just because Action Lab had the foresight and the low budget to continue to make something that wasn't making money, and get it to the point that it's at right now. If that had been one of those other companies, they would have had people from a corporate level just cracking down on it. It would have gone insane. And that's why they have to have a giant thunderbolt on the front that has to say Ms. Marvel, because otherwise they wouldn't be there.
Okay, next question. Look, I got one question left, all right? Y'all got comments?
My name is Cameron. I'm from ComfortSack.net. And my question is, what do you think has more social value? Bringing diversity to the standing milieu or creating new landscapes and diversity occurs now?
You would ask a 10-minute question.
You know what? It needs to be in both spots. You know, we need to be able to create our own things to show people that, hey, we matter, we count, we can create wonderful and beautiful things, but we also need representation over on the other side so things don't get lopsided like they are right now in the big publishers. You know, more representation always just means better quality at the end when the day is said and done. You know, come on, man. Real talk. Like, I mean, it sounds like, you know, minorities have made so many things better for everyone. In all walks of life and all landscapes of creation, not just print media, but I'm talking about life in general, from like service goods to anything, you name it. We help make this world a better place, one way or the other. And we deserve to be on it too.
Really rude right now. There's comments up here. You can grab them. Princess is right there.